to miss the playoffs after leading the league in yards and touchdowns, joining 2012 Drew Brees and 1986 Dan Marino. Did this year, and Coach Mangini is here, fresh from the Universal Studios. Welcome, Coach. Did this year help or hurt Joe's rep?
I actually think it helped.
Really?
I mean, you look at that list.
That's pretty good.
That's 2 Hall of Famers on there, Dan Marino and Drew Brees. We talked about it last week. A lot of great quarterbacks, John Elway we could throw in there, have missed, Aaron Rodgers missed a few, have missed the playoffs in their prime. And I say it helped him. Obviously, the numbers were ridiculous. It was his best individual season ever. All right, almost 5,000 yards, 43 touchdowns, led the league. But remember, last year, I know he got stronger toward the end, but he played 10 games, and they weren't all great.
And the team was 5-5.
Team was 5-5, and he threw for 300 yards only 3 times, and he had a 91 passer rating.
Like he couldn't.
Like I know a lot of it I chalked up early on to him being banged up, but still. We saw him for 10 games, and he didn't look great overall. So he came back, had a great individual season. Secondly, the question we've always had about him, or at least me, is he going to stay healthy? He stayed healthy for 17 games. I know he's played full seasons before, but he was coming off the, 10 games, injured himself, just running on a rollout in practice. So for him to get through these games, play so well, I'm not saying he's blameless. But I'm not going to put this on him when that defense was so bad and he was so good. So I actually think it helped him.
Yeah, looking at it in retrospect, it helped them. So they ended with, a 5-game winning streak. They beat back-to-back playoff teams to end the season. All their losses were to playoff teams except for New England. That was their only loss to a non-playoff team. His lowest quarterback rating was an 86, and that was the first game of the season. I think he had 10 games with over 100 quarterback rating. His stats were ridiculous. The question to me for Joe moving forward is, how good is he going to be when he doesn't have the 2 stars with him?
Right.
And the great quarterbacks, as we always talk about, they're force multipliers. They take the regular receivers and they make them exceptional. And will Joe be able to do that? What's disappointing about this season, too, is even the losses, they're all shootouts.
Right.
This team is, if they'd gotten the playoffs, would have been as dangerous, I would argue, as anybody.
They're super dangerous. That's why they just fired half their coaching staff. Everything about the Bengals narrative this year is upside down. You listen to their fans, they have the MVP, Joe Burrow. They have the Offensive Player of the Year, Jamar Chase. Yeah. They have the Defensive Player of the Year, Trey Hendrickson.
Well,
he led the league in sacks. Led the league in sacks. I'm saying you listen to their fans.
First team
They've got all these amazing players, and yet they're on their hands and knees begging Carson Wentz for help because they can't handle their own business. So here's why, and this is what's insane to me about the idea that it helped him. Joe Burrow's rep was not based on anything other than who he's beaten in the playoffs. It's a playoff rep. He had, prior to this year, 1 Pro Bowl. He'd never led the league in any category other than completion percentage. He had never had more than 35 touchdown passes in a season, never had 4,500 yards passing in a season. He wasn't he wasn't Drew Brees, who's on this list with all these 5,000-yard seasons, statistical years. It's not who he'd been. The reason, Mahomes is here, and then there was Burrow, Lamar, and Allen. And it's like, hey, who's the second best quarterback? What's the case for each of them? And the Burrow's case was,
I agree with that.
I went to Arrowhead and beat Patrick in the playoffs. The next year I went to Buffalo and beat Josh in the playoffs. In the 2 years since then, Lamar's won an MVP. I think Josh is about to win this MVP. At least Vegas thinks he is. And Burrow's missed the playoffs. And last year, people are like, oh, he got hurt. And that is true. But they were 5. The day he got hurt, they weren't a playoff team. You know what I mean? They were 5-5. And so
So how have these numbers hurt his rep? If you're saying his rep was purely based off a playoff performance and he didn't have the gaudy numbers, now he's shown that he can have the gaudy numbers. Wouldn't that reinforce that he is an exceptional talent?
Everybody knows he's an exceptional talent. But the race he's in for is the race of basically who's the best quarterback not named Patrick Mahomes. And he felt he lost ground in that race this year. How could anyone...
Here's the thing. Because we all say there's Mahomes and there's Lamar and Allen and Burrow. He's still on that tier.
No, but that's...
Are you taking him down from that tier?
What I'm saying is I think that is a I'm not accusing you of this, because you're right as far as when we do tiers, and I like tiers, obviously.
Sure.
But I'm saying if someone said, give me your top 5 and order it, Burrow, he lost ground in the argument that he had the 2-hole. Like he just did.
In yours.
Hold on.
We got Micah Parsons and other people saying he's the best quarterback in the
You cannot
league.
say he's 2.
No,
You cannot say.
nobody.
I'm not saying mine, but we got people in the NFL saying he's the best quarterback in the league.
And by the way,
I don't know how many people were saying that before this season.
About Micah or about people saying it. The thing about those people will say that about 4 people within a month. They will say, they'll say Lamar is the best. They'll say whoever played most recently awesome is the best. So I don't really take that quite as seriously. Missing, and you're right, Brew, but we can, you brought up Elway, and that's true, and it's a long career. But we can also show you the guys he's competing with, how often they miss the playoffs when they play 10-plus games. Because for Burrow now, it's 3 of the 5, and if we want to take out his rookie year, because Patrick didn't even play his rookie year, and that's fine. But Allen's only misses his rookie year. And if we do it historically, Brew, of the guys since 2000, the best quarterbacks we've seen, what it looks like, again, he's at 3. You're right, Rodgers did do it. But over a 20-year career, 4 times. Breeze is the only one. And now
last year's tough. I would.
Yeah, I don't really hold last year.
I would take rookie year out, and he got hurt, but he came in hurt. He got hurt in a different way. He had the calf and the wrist.
Nope.
So I'm just giving him a pass on last year. It's like double injured.
Do you think this is a function of Joe Burrow underachieving, or do you think this is a function of organizational underachieving?
Oh, I blame the organization more. There is no question about it. But what I am saying is I am the guy who 2 years ago, when everyone was anointing Josh Allen, went to war saying Joe Burrow's second best quarterback in the league. Mm-hmm. And even last year, when Burrow was hurt and out and Lamar is on his way to winning MVP, I was the guy saying, I still think Burrow's better than Lamar because I don't trust Lamar in the postseason. Those arguments now are much harder to make. And, the last time Joe Burrow played in the playoffs, the Jags and the Giants were in there, the playoffs. There are only 10 teams in the league right now with a longer playoff drought than the Bengals. Because now that there's 7 teams in each conference, if you have a great quarterback in the current format and he's healthy all year, that's supposed to be enough to be, all you have to be is 1 team above average in your conference. And you make it. That's all I'm saying. But, give him the MVP. It's a great 9-win season. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.